This is the Vast60, a full aluminum gasket mount 60% keyboard with tons of options for customizability at a pretty fair price. This board was sold through a group buy, which if you know anything about this hobby of ours, group buys normally take upwards of 6 months to a year to actually ship to your home. This board, on the other hand, only took about 1 to 2 months to ship, which is honestly insane compared to most other group buys. All this with its competitive price lets there being quite a bit of demand for round 2 of this keyboard, which is what I have here today for us to look at. The Vast60 R2, a full aluminum gasket mount 60% keyboard with multiple layout and PCB support. Here I have it in the E-white colorway, though there was options for E-black, rose gold, red, and a polycarbonate version. The Vast R1 was priced at a moderate $160 without a PCB, and the R2 at $200 without PCB. At this price, it probably isn't the greatest value out there, but it definitely offers things that most boards don't. Just like the R1, this has an interchangeable top piece, which at the time of purchasing, you can choose between multiple options for different layouts such as win keyless, HHKB, right blocker, and the standard layout. That with the PCB support makes it so there's basically endless layout possibilities. A great example of this wacky layouts that you can make with this is the Vast by WK. This builds an R1, but the same thing goes for the R1 and R2. This thing is insane. With all this layout support, you also need a plate to be able to fit all the layouts, which this board also has. This board was advertised to have options for Sangan, which supports win keyless and HHKB, Universal, which supports almost all layouts, a standard 61 key layout, and 64 key layout with arrow keys. A cool small feature of this board is that they all would come with an optional half plate. This works by having the main alpha portion of the plate removable to be able to have a full or half plate experience. We'll get a bit more in depth about that in a bit. The materials for the plate was FR4 and polycarbonate. The polycarbonate plate is broken. Yep, and that's not even the end of the scuff. I originally ordered the FR4 win keyless / HHKB half plate, but instead got a fully universal plate because apparently there was only half plates options for the polycarbonate plates. That was never communicated at all. But even the people who did order the polycarbonate plate also didn't get the half plates which was advertised, and got full PC plates instead. They did somewhat resolve this issue by sending everyone who wanted a half plate an extra polycarbonate half plate, and that's how I got my extra polycarbonate plate. But again, it came broken in half, which yeah, I know I can't blame them for. It was probably just poor handling during shipping. Alright, with that bit out of the way, let's get into some of the differences between the R1 and R2. Both look very similar on the outside, with the only differences being this quote-unquote jelly-like badge on the left, which is the love or hate edition. I personally really love it as it's a unique way to add a bit of flair to a 60% keyboard like this. Another external feature is the change of the back logo from a sort of eyeball to this new logo they have, which I honestly like the older logo for the Vast a bit better, but of course that's all just personal preference. Some new internal upgrades are mainly the inclusion of this internal brass weight, which while it doesn't have the nicest finish ever, still looks super great and contributes a lot to the sound of the board. There's also a small polycarbonate RGB diffuser for the logo on the bottom. The Vast R1 had a small issue with most of the layouts with blockers, where the USB port was aligned slightly wrong, and it led to some keycaps running against the blockers. And weirdly enough, ABB from CrateKeys said that it was too late to fix the issue, and it probably still happened with the R2. But even weirdly-er enough, is that even a word? My R2 didn't have any issues, and I don't think anyone else encountered issues either. So it was fixed? Strange, but hey, I'm not complaining. The R1 included a bottom case foam and a plate foam, while the R2 was advertised to also include this thin foam layer to be stick to the back of the side of the PCB, similar to something like the Tempest tape mod, in addition to the plate and case foam. Though disappointingly, this also didn't get delivered to anyone, and while not the biggest deal, still very disappointing to see how many things they forgot for this board, as they never communicating to the community that these things would be changed. It also looks like they were a bit carried away with the Theros 75 production and just rushed the Vast R2. Now they have the case open, let's take a look at the gaskets and gasket mount implementation. Compared to the R1, the gaskets are I believe 1.5mm thick instead of the 1mm. This is supposed to give a softer typing experience, and to my surprise it actually did. This board flexes a decent amount for my taste, not being too bouncy like my Theros 75 while having a tiny bit of give, so it's not too harsh. Normally in gasket mount keyboards, people design their keyboards with daughter boards so that the USB port doesn't interfere with any flex or bounce of the board as the plate and PCB assembly move up and down. This board though doesn't have any daughter board and uses a large USB port cutout to make up for it. The USB port is very nicely recessed into the case and is super easy to find without looking for it, which is very nice. The one thing I mainly wanted out of the R2 over the R1 was improved stock sound. Yeah, after paper towel modding my Vast R1, it did sound pretty darn nice, but I'm getting a bit tired of the whole thok thing and wanted to have a bit more of that pure clack sound without needing any added modifications. So does the R2 successfully do that? Here's a few sound test comparisons, and right after that I'll give you my thoughts. Well, there's a pretty big difference. The internal brass weight in the R2 does get rid of most of the hollowness slash pinging that was found in the R1, and it does have a really nice clack that I enjoy without having any foam, so it does fill that need for me, and I honestly really enjoyed the sound with both the FR4 and polycarbonate plate over the R1. I might try doing the Tempest tape mod in the future, but we won't be doing that in this video. Overall, I really love this keyboard. In fact, it's my main keyboard currently, even over my Fredasaurus and original Vast. And I think it'll stay this way for a while, since this board just fills out most of my needs. It is a bit unfortunate that this group by itself didn't go as smoothly as the R1 did, but the fulfillment was still only a little bit over 2 months, which is definitely really quick. I just wish it wasn't as scuffed as it was, because it did seem like Createcubes pushed out the Vast to the side as they were working on the Fredasaurus. But again, I still absolutely love this board, with the plate broken or not. So yeah, I think that's going to be about the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe, as I am trying to hit a pretty unrealistic goal of 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Be sure to check out my affiliate links in the description, and yeah, with that, hope you have a great day.